go.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Kicks of the Trade, a podcast where we are bridging the gap between your casual sneaker fan and avid sneaker enthusiast. I'm one of your hosts, Kelsey Cristiano, and I'm joined, as always, by Chris.
What's up? What's up? How's everything? So before we even get started, I have to say
right
this.
in today.
Right, I'm getting in there. So I have to say this. Nikola Jokic is the MVP of the NBA 2021 season. He is the MVP. He is my MVP.
I
Now,
not agree more with you.
he is my MVP. I'm gonna stop right there. Who I think should deserve it? Chris Paul for what he's did for the Suns. Who do I think will win it? Nikola Jokic. Who do I think should win it? Who I want to win it? Nikola Jokic. But that's all I wanted to say to start it off. Shout out to the Joker.
Give it to the Joker, my man Yoke. That's my boy through and through.
Yeah. So
I've slept talk about Joker before.
Hey, did you try to get those threes today?
I did. It's a really sore subject, Chris.
What threes were they? Let the people know what threes they were.
Oh my God.
I struggle to say it, so I'm not even gonna butcher it.
Because it's a French name. So the Ama Meuniers.
Okay.
Oh God, I just messed it up. Whatever.
Try it again.
Gorgeous, beautiful shoe.
It is beautiful.
Oh my God.
It's a woman's shoe, which is exciting.
It's a woman's shoe, and it was a woman's focused release. It did come out in men's sizes, but
came out extended. We call that, so they call that extended sizes. It's like still a woman's release, but they came out in bigger sizes to somewhat accommodate men or accommodate women who have bigger sizes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't get it. Oh. So that was really sad, but oh my God, beautiful shoe. I think I like this shoe more than the Off-White 4s, which I was
really
like, yes, they just have, I'm like a sucker for those like tonal colors, and it had the white with a little bit of kind of like a violet on the back. I think threes are just a hot shoe to me. Like, I think they are really great for women.
Right.
And they look good with a lot of stuff. That was a tough shoe to get though. Like
it was. And I know I had a friend who actually got a pair. He got his pair before they got released. He won a raffle. But I'm not gonna lie, that's one of those shoes that's that love and first sight shoe for sure. I got the same feelings of that shoe as I did for the 4s. Now, if I'm comparing it and you did, I'm still gonna choose those Off-White 4s over those. But it's very, very, very close. And I do like that. I like everything about it. I like how they mix up the textures. It kind of has like a kind of little distress vibe. And I'm always a fan of the threes having a Nike heel tab, like the little Nike on the back. I like the heel tab more than the Jumpman sign. It gives me more of that classic feel. Yeah. So, and that's more of the OG color type heel tab. So I'm a fan of those shoes. I love them.
Yeah. I got a shirt. I ended up getting a shirt.
Okay. The long sleeve or the short sleeve?
I got the short sleeve.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and we'll go with a lot of the shoes that I do have already. So that's cool. I'm cool with it. But I mean, that's like what we're getting into in today's episode. How to get shoes, where to get shoes from, and the, after sell market.
Yeah. The aftermarket.
Yeah. This one was kind of a weird one. Because they only released on the actual boutique's website. And I think they were pretty particular about making sure there weren't like bots going in. They had all these extra checks to make sure you were a human. And but no, I took an L.
It's okay. It's part of it. But like you said, so is this a shoe that you see yourself going for in the aftermarket, the resale?
I feel like I have to.
Really?
I mean, they're running pretty expensive.
I don't know how much are they at? Well, I'm sure you checked. How much are they going for right now on the resale?
They were like 900.
Ooh. Oh, God. And it's on the first day? Oh.
I know. And it's just like, but you probably know better than me. Like the first day when things release and they're like a really sought after shoe, the after sale price is like, it's jacked up.
Yeah. Because I think people are still on that high of the shoe. So they're like, hey, I just got to get it. And then the thing is, it's kind of the FOMO, the fear of missing out. So like, hey, if I pay it at 900 right now, I won't have to worry about paying it for like 1,300, 1,400, maybe 1,500. So I'll pay the 900 now, and then hopefully it doesn't get jacked up or come back down. So I get why that happens so often,
But I
but
did misspoke actually because they're going, well, I guess it depends on the size. Let's do a check really fast. So my size 442.
that's
Depends
not
on the
bad.
size.
I
They're
mean,
going
I'm
up
just
to
saying.
like 700 though right
I
now.
mean, but you got to think, like I said, it goes up right when the release comes out, and then it gradually drops, and then sometimes it might spike up. Now, like say you see like Rihanna walking around with them, that price is gonna go up. Travis Scott, if he walks around with a pair of them, that price is gonna get jacked up. So I would say if you can get them at that price right now, definitely, because what happens is when people start walking around and seeing them in the summertime, people are gonna be like, I gotta have them, I gotta have them, especially at 400. That's not really it's a lot, but it's not a backbreaker in terms of the resale for what they could be,
Yeah.
especially how rare. But I also think,
So I'm going to get them. I just decided.
yeah, there you go.
Like
But
after this.
but let's get into it in terms of that. So today our focus is going to be the after sale market. Where can you get shoes that have been released and either people are reselling them or doing whatever for you to get your pair or what you want or shoes that you highly covet. So I'm going to actually talk about my platform, House of Trade. So what we do at House of Trade is we actually allow the users to trade sneakers amongst each other. So say we call it closet currency. So say you have the Jordan 1s, the Jordan 3s, and the Jordan 4s, and you want these threes that just came out. We allow you the opportunity to trade those sneakers for the threes that just came out and in an exchange. So instead of using your own personal money to buy them, you just use your shoes as collateral for a trade. Now there is a small fee, obviously, but nothing crazy like a stock X fee or anything like that. But what it does is just allow shoes that you have in your closet as currency. So like for me, I have a lot. I almost cursed, but I have a ton of shoes that I hardly wear. So I'd be more open to trade them, and most sneakerheads do.
So let me jump in here and ask
Okay.
some questions and play the consumer part of a
Okay.
trans.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I'm new. I've got a pair of shoes. First of all, can I have worn them or do they have to be brand new?
Great question. So you can have your shoes gently worn. We don't accept any beaters, but you can have gently worn shoes. And we also do accept dead stock sneakers as well. So we do accept both. But we do determine whether the shoe is acceptable enough to put on the platform. But so far, we haven't had anybody put any beat up shoes on there so far.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so next question. So say I've got a shoe, maybe it doesn't fit me right or whatever, and I want to put it on the platform. And the person who's looking to trade would be able to offer up any shoes, same value. Is it up to the person who's offering the trade versus accepting the trade? Like, what does that part look like for you?
Yeah, so that part looks like so you can trade up to shoes of any value. So say I'm trading a OG Jordan 1 for a Travis Scott 4, and somebody feels like that's what the shoe that they really want. In terms of value, the trade is not really even, but you also have to understand in terms of trading, it's what the nostalgia value is to the individual. So think about it like this. That might have been the first shoe that like his grandma gave him or her, or that might have been a shoe that they made a game winning shot in when they were younger, and they have a memory attached to it. So what we try to do is really establish a nostalgia connection, not necessarily a value connection. Now, some people are obviously going to trade for value, like, hey, yes, I have a great shoe and I'm willing to trade you, but it's just not balanced. We don't determine that. I don't determine this is not a good trade. Those are up to the individuals because I've seen in terms of like the sneaker culture, I've seen some crazy trades, but it's because that shoe meant so much to that person, that individual, not so much, oh, well, this shoe's cost this much and this shoe costs this much is an even trade. It doesn't always work like that. Like if just look at baseball cards, like if you grew up idolizing Joe Montana and you want to trade it for a Peyton Manning in value, that could or could not be the same, but it's based on more so the individual.
Gotcha. Okay. I love that idea. I think it's cool because these sneakers are becoming so difficult for people to get.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ones. And like you're at the mercy of the resale price. And with more and more people just really paying attention to and liking sneakers, it's like the price of a lot of them are going up.
Right.
Especially the ones that are really exclusive. So I think it's a cool way to get some exclusive sneakers, but you don't have to shell out, $1,000 for.
Right. And that's actually how you said something earlier that's actually how I came up with the platform. I actually had the Travis Scott 4s and I got them in a size 14, but I needed a 15. And I knew that the 15 was out there and I didn't want to resell them and then use the money and buy them. I just legit wanted to straight up trade. So I looked all around the internet and I couldn't find a platform that actually did just a straight up trade. I just wanted a 15 for 14, nothing crazy. And I realized that there's not really a platform out there that did that. So what I decided to do was like, okay, if it's not out there, why don't I be the person that just makes it? Yeah. So that's how House of Trade was actually born.
I love it. How long have you been in business now?
Actually, we just came up on our year anniversary, April 20th, 420 anniversary. So,
That's awesome. Congrats. I love it. I love it. I think that segues into the next, I guess, companies that we want to talk about a little bit different in the sneaker world. Because it almost kind of reminds me, I feel like trades used to just exist out in the world, in kind of like these online marketplaces.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Find people that maybe have a shoe that you're looking for and they're offering these kind of like side bet trades in a way. Yeah. And I think that like that's where like eBay almost like really came about.
Yeah, so a lot of those, like you said, that trading came from was like the sneaker conventions, like SneakerCon and all those other things. And then just like being like an old school sneakerhead, like you stand in line and you start to develop relationships and friendships and be like, hey, I got this shoe. I need this size. You got somebody? Yeah, I got a homeboy who needs this size. And it really is just like an old school method of like just more so word of mouth. But now we have platforms where people are buying and selling like a StockX. And I'll get into StockX in a second, but like StockX is like this mega huge platform now where it's like, it allows everybody to somewhat be a reseller. Mm-hmm. So if you're not too familiar with it, StockX is like essentially the stock market of sneakers. It has like, if you look on the website, it has a ticker at the top, just like the stock market, tells you the value of sneakers.
Price go up and down.
Yep. And it shows you like, it has a graph and shows you like, hey, what's the retail prices? What's the range or the median of the shoes? So like the high and the low of the sales, the average price of the sales, and then what it looks like in a 52-week period. So a year period. I think it's very helpful in the sense of like knowing the value of your shoes. If you're new to the sneaker game, to me, being somebody who's more of a original person in it, it helps and hurts. And here's why. It hurts because it makes everybody really think that all their shoes are worth all this money, and that's not always the case. Like there's shoes that, hey, back in the day, shoes go on sale. There's a reason why. And now StockX makes it so that these shoes that would go on sale normally are getting sold for like $200, $300, $400, and it's probably $150 shoe. Mm-hmm. So that's what I don't like about it, but I do like that it gives you access to shoes that you maybe wouldn't have gotten access to prior. So
yeah, that's a good point. And with all these platforms, I think that do you want to go into like the differences between these platforms? Because I think there are some really key differences in terms of what sort of merchandise these resellers accept, what they don't accept. And I think what's huge within this world is you don't want to get scammed. Like you don't want to buy fake shoes, like they're floating around out there. So the benefit of having like a middleman, so to speak, in some of these transactions can really protect you as a buyer if you're going to go that route.
So I'll start with StockX and I just finished with them. So the difference between StockX and most of these other platforms is StockX is one of the few companies that only accepts brand new products. So like you cannot wear the shoe, you cannot like walk around and wear it one time. Even if it looks brand new and it's been worn one time, they won't take it. So StockX, your product has to be brand new. Also on StockX, you can sell shirts, pants, a lot of streetwear, everything involved in streetwear. You can buy art, hats. So StockX is not just sneakers, but everything has to be brand new on the platform, and you're buying brand new. Also, the good thing about StockX is they do authenticate their items. That's what we do also at House of Trade. We also authenticate the items. I didn't mention that earlier, but I wanted to put that in there. But yes, they authenticate the items, so you don't really have that risk of getting a fake product. The bad thing is there has been times where fake products get through, because just like with anything else, as time goes on, fakes get better. Okay, so I'm not saying that people don't get fakes. It's just the likelihood of you getting a fake through StockX is very low. Okay, the next platform is Goat. Goat is probably the biggest competitor to StockX in terms of solely streetwear and reselling. The difference between Goat, the biggest difference between Goat and StockX is Goat actually accepts used products. So they accept used sneakers in their platform. And also the difference is StockX is more catered to, I'd say, the seller. Goat is catered more towards the buyer. And by that, I mean, on Goat, your fees are going to be a lot lower as a buyer and as a seller, whereas Goat, they're a lot high. I mean, as StockX, they're a lot higher as a buyer. So like you might buy a shoe for $225 and end up spending like $275 when it's all done. Whereas like Goat, you might buy it for $225 and end up spending like $250. So the percentages is different, but it means a lot when you're spending a lot of money. Some of the other ones,
100%. Because that's like that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're like getting thousands of dollars, that's like $300-400 at that point.
Yeah, 100%. So you think, in your opinion, Goat has the best, most advantageous platform for resale purchase on the seller side?
Yes, but the thing is about Goat is they have a lot on their platform, but I think StockX has more. So
inventory.
Yeah, so I would say if I'm looking for something, I always look on Goat first, because I know I can get it used, and I also know I can get it cheaper, and I also know that I'm not going to pay a ton of fees.
Yeah, and then you can see all your options everywhere.
Correct. And then, but on StockX, 9 times out of 10, I know it's going to be there. So that's the biggest difference.
Yeah.
In terms of that, in that area.
Okay, so we got Goat, we got StockX. Now let's go into the different format a little bit. Flight Club and Stadium Goods.
Yep.
What do you have on those ones? How do those ones compare?
So the Flight Clubs and the Stadium Goods is there's a big difference between Flight Club and Stadium Goods in terms of comparing them to StockX and Goat. Flight Club and Stadium Goods also have brick and mortar stores. So you can actually walk in there and hand them your shoes. They can look at it and give you the cash on hand. Okay. Or once the item sells. So it's a consignment store. Yeah. It's a consignment store. So once the item sells, then they'll give you cash on hand. Now, sometimes they just buy your item straight up because you have something that's ultra rare and they know it's sold and they just want to have it. So think of it as like a sneaker pawn shop. It's essentially like that. So Stadium Goods and Flight Club are like pawn shops for sneakers. They also have online platforms as well too. I like them a little bit more because you do have a personal touch when you do talk to somebody, and you also can negotiate your price a little bit more in terms of what you want to sell it for. And then I personally like a little bit of human interaction when I'm dealing with high-end sneakers.
Yeah.
But then they also have bigger sizes.
Yeah, yeah, you get a little bit more options probably.
Yeah.
If I could be so lucky to live in a city that has stores like that, because those don't exist in Denver.
Well, the good thing, what are some of so I'm going to say this. There are, I would say everybody, if you're looking for aftermarket shoe, look in your local city, and there's probably 9 times out of 10 a resale store in your city. It might not be this big, huge place like Flight Club or Stadium Goods, but I will tell you this, the smaller places give better deals on shoes because they can't sit on inventory. They can't afford to. They can't afford to sit on like all these shoes that look great with these extremely high prices, but you're in a small town. So the likelihood of them being a ton of sneakerheads are very low. So
Mhm.
that's what I would tell people. Like if you're not like in a big city, look, even if you are in a big city, look at some of the smaller places that
Yeah. Because even yeah, like some of them, and Denver has a few that I want to mention and shout out.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
there's even if you're looking online, like they have a lot of cool sneaker boutiques. Like Atlanta, I know has a ton.
Yeah.
California, whereas Flight Club, you walk in that place and it's like in your face.
Hmm.
But there's a lot of these cool boutiques that you can check out. A couple that I like to go to in Denver, Vices. It's right up the street from me here in 5 Points. And they've got a nice little inventory store. It's a cool store. So I check them out. And then Aurora has some. Notorious Lifestyle is one.
Yep. Yep.
So
So yeah,
that's a good tip.
so that's so I would say use those to your advantage. I mean, you can also negotiate the prices with them. Like Flight Club and Stadium Goods, StockX, and Go, you can't really negotiate those prices. So use those to your advantage. The next thing I want to talk about is eBay. eBay is where I originally started in terms of buying resale. And
Wild West.
eBay used to be the Wild Wild West. It's getting a little bit more under control now. But I will tell you this: there's a few reasons why I stopped using eBay, but also it was the reason why I got into the game as well. eBay allowed me to get shoes before it was cool to get them. So and that I mean, like before all these resale companies came out, eBay was like the first place to get it. Now, and so what Kelsey's referring to the Wild Wild West is that you could possibly get a fake on eBay because they don't have an authentication process. They do now. I don't know what it looks like. I haven't sold on there in a while, but eBay now has that, which I think was a good idea for them. I think they're a little bit too late. They could have really dominated this market, but they were very, very late in terms of adding that authentication, especially as much money they bring in. They were
Yeah.
bringing in so much money, so they didn't feel like they needed to.
Well, what a pro to using eBay still is if you're doing these transactions with PayPal, will protect you.
Protects you, yes.
So, I mean, if you and who knows exactly what this looks like. I mean, I think that if you don't receive your shoe or something like that, like you
Hmm.
could get your money back. There might be something that you can negotiate with the seller if they're not deemed to be authentic. Might be able to get your money back there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually happened to me before when I was on eBay, and that's the good thing about talking about the protection. I received a pair of shoes that weren't in the condition that they said they were because there was nobody verifying this. So the
Yeah.
shoes were beat up. So I reported it. I reported to eBay and I reported to PayPal. I got my money back and sent the shoes back.
Yeah.
So you can't really do that with StockX. You can't do that with any of those other platforms. It's like once you buy it, it's a done deal. It's over.
Yeah. And then you're
And the good and also the good thing about eBay is that if you buy a shoe and it's not in the condition, you can read reviews on people. So it
Mhm.
lets you know, hey, this is a good buyer, this is a legit buyer, they sell legit stuff. Their stuff is usually authentic. So that kind of killed people who were selling fake stuff. And for me, I don't, so I was telling Kels this before we got on air. I'm not a big reseller. I mean, I don't buy resell. Like once I miss, I call it a day, clean my hands. I'm either trading or I just forget about them and hope they come out in like another 5 years. So I don't resell. But when I was younger, that was my job, and one of my jobs in college, my side hustles were I used to resell sneakers for friends and for myself, and that's where I started. I had a huge eBay store,
Mhm.
so but that's where I buy my shoes now from is still eBay because I can negotiate some of these shoes, or also I might see a shoe and it might sit for a long time, and I know this person still has it. So I'm like, hey, I know you haven't sold this shoe in like a year. Let me get that ball for you for like 25% off. And they'll be like, yeah, because I've been holding it for a year. Whereas on StockX and all those other platforms, the sellers are anonymous. So you don't really have that leverage to negotiate because you can't interact with them. You don't have a chat. You don't have anything like that. Everything's autonomous. So
yeah, yeah. I know that's what's hard for me. Like I see a shoe and I kind of fall in love with it. And I like almost like once I get it in my mind, like I need to get I have to get those Jordan 3s.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. I would say this, stay away from Craigslist. Don't buy shoes off of Craigslist. It's shady. It's very unsavory characters up there. Use House of Trade, if anything. House of Trade is the best bet. Out of all those platforms, I think House of Trade is number one. I would say low fees. You get to use your closet currency so you're not spending exorbitant amounts of money. But if you don't have a huge collection of shoes, still throw your shoes up there on House of Trade because you never know what somebody else wants. I know I was talking to
my picks on there.
Yeah.
About it.
Absolutely. I was talking to one of my friends, we coached together, and he wanted these Allen Iversons, and it just so happens that he's trying to make a trade with my brother. So like you never know. Like my brother's thinking these Allen Iversons nobody's gonna want, but you never know what that nostalgia factor brings to somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Check out House of Trade.
Yeah, yeah. Is it Copper drop time?
I know. I was gonna say, is it time for our next Copper drop? Let's go. All right. What we got first?
We got up first. Give me 1 second. So we got up first. We got the Nike Dunk Low Michigans. Michigan.
Michigan. All right. Recent releasing on May 13th, $100 for men's, 85 for grade school. You copping or dropping?
I am dropping these. I'm not a fan of the Michigan colorway, and I'm not really like the hugest fan of dunks. I think they make my feet look huge, but I'm not a fan of like the Michigan colorway. Like I'm okay on these. I don't really wear the maize and blue.
Yeah, I'd have to second on that. I'm good not getting these. I'm not like people might hate me for saying this, but like I'm not really a dunk fan. Like I know I was like obsessed with my first pair of dunks, but like I don't know, I'm just I'm more into the Jordans now, so I don't love the colorway either way. So
there you go. We got the second one. We got the Reebok Question Mids. Speaking of Allen Iverson again, the Candyland edition.
All right, these are already available for $150. You can get them right now because they're not in super high demand. You gonna get them?
Absolutely not. This is a hideous shoe. Great silhouette. Love Allen Iverson, but they did Allen Iverson very dirty with this colorway. This is a child's shoe. It should not be on a grown man or a grown woman's foot. And it's an ugly shoe. It's absolutely hideous. I would not be copping. If you gave them to me, I would not wear them. Just that simple.
I really want to know what Allen Iverson was thinking.
He probably had no input on that shoe.
I hope not, because no, that shoe's ugly. It looks like Candyland just vomited.
Yes, absolutely.
A shoe, basically.
Yes. It's like the night after, it's like the morning after thing.
But not the way they put it together.
Yes.
The shoe's cool if it was a different color.
Right. Like the other colors are cool, but no, it's absolutely no.
Yeah,
and then the last shoe for today is the Travis Scott Jordan 6, the British Khakis.
April 30th, $250. What's your take on these?
I love this shoe. I like it because it's not too heavy on the khaki. It's like more of like a pinkish khaki. I like it. They're not coming in my size, but I will be trying to get a pair. But I love that.
Me a pair.
I got you. But I love this shoe. It's awesome. I like the little accent details. The sole glows in the dark. Like a lot of Travis Scott insignia on it. So I'm a fan of it. It has like a stash pocket on the side. Fan. Stash for what? That's none of my business.
Oh, I love this shoe. I will be attempting to buy them.
There you go.
I will be attempting to buy these. and I might buy them anyways.
Oh, okay. Look at you. Travis Scott resale stuff goes crazy.
Travis Scott shoes.
Travis Scott resale goes crazy, so you better be careful what you ask for.
Maybe I won't, but I don't know. It's a good shoe. I think he might be like my top like favorite for collabs. So
I got to think about that. That might be another episode we need to touch on favorite collabs, because Travis Scott is definitely up there, but I know who I don't like in collabs, and I don't want to spoil it because I definitely want to bring that for another episode. That might be episode 4. Should we do that?
Teaser. All right. I think this might need to be episode 4.
Yeah.
A wrap for today. Thank you for listening to Kicks of the Trade and dropping all your knowledge on us. So guys, if you have any questions or need a little bit more details on what we discussed today, jump in the conversation. You can find us on Spotify, on YouTube, on iTunes right now. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at kicksofthetrade.podcast. Again, I'm Kelsey Cristiano. You can find me on Instagram, Kelsey Cristiano. What's your Insta, Chris?
C_hollows, but find me at House of Trade _INC.
Yes.
Hey.
Let's go. All right. Later.
Deuces.